We are from Hiroshima Jogakuin High School.
Our names are Rina Ibata and
Umino Watanuki.
This time, we came up with a plan for a peaceful world without nuclear weapons in terms of military spending. This is the table of contents.
We are from Hiroshima. Hiroshima was attacked by an atomic bomb on August 6, 1945. Due to the heat rays, the surface temperature near the hypocenter reached 3,000 to 4,000 degrees Celsius. The surface temperature of the Sun is about 6,000 degrees Celsius, and the temperature at which iron melts is about 1,500 degrees Celsius. This heat destroyed and burned everything within 2 kilometers in the city of Hiroshima.
The blast flattened buildings and the radiation also caused significant damage, still plagues hibakusha or survivors of the bomb to this day.
During the war, many students of our school, Hiroshima Jogakuin, were mobilized to work for the government in various ways.
At the time of the atomic bombing, many students were working and died at the place near the hypocenter. 330 students and 20 teachers died, and those who happened not to be at school on that day were spared. Because Jogakuin was exposed to the atomic bombing of Hiroshima, we put a lot of effort into peace education.
Each grade has a different theme for peace studies. For example, last year, we learned about the attack on Pearl Harbor. It was a great experience for us to learn about the war, not only from the Japanese perspective, but also from other countries. What was most memorable was hearing about the view of the atomic bombing from Aidan O'Sullivan, a high school student in America.
Other activities at our school include volunteering to visit monuments around Peace Memorial Park and the Atomic Bomb Dome to introduce them to students from other schools, both in Japan and abroad. Two of us actually gave a monument tour to high school students in Kanagawa Prefecture. In talking with people our own age, we were able to make new discoveries and receive inspiration.
We belong to a club called Global Issues, where we learn about peace, war, and nuclear weapons in English. We can develop a perspective to look at global issues from various angles. Students also have the opportunity to listen to lectures on a variety of topics, such as environmental issues and radiation, by people who are conducting research on radiation.
During one of those GI activities, we learned about military spending and were very shocked that Japan, which we thought was a peaceful country, is among the top 10 countries in military spending. We therefore decided that military spending is a major problem and that if military spending was reduced, there might be a possibility that nuclear weapons could also be eliminated from the world. Our plan is examine military spending and consider the alternatives. This is our introduction.
The ranking of the world's military expenditures in 2020 is shown in this graph. The top 10 countries include the United Nations Security Council permanent members:
US, UK, France, China, and Russia.
And Japan. The US accounts for more than half of the total amounts of the top 10 countries, indicating that it spends far more than the other countries.
We first looked at our home country of Japan. We examined Japan's national budget for 2021 and found this graph. Military expenditures account for 5% of the total, or 5,323.5 billion yen.
Japan's national budget for 2022 was in this graph. Military spending accounted for 5.0% of the total, or 5,368.7 billion yen, which is 45.2 billion yen higher than last year. However, education and science promotion decreased by 6.8 billion yen.
We also researched Germany, whose GDP, population, area, and other national strengths are similar to those of Japan. Germany's national budget for 2020 was in this graph. 8.8% of the total, or 46 billion euros, was spent on the military. In other words, it is no coincidence that Japan spends so much on its military. Countries with great national power also spend a lot on their military.
In this presentation, we would like to focus on the United States, which has the largest military spending. The cost of nuclear weapons in the US for 2020 is $37.4 billion. The cost of nuclear weapons in the US for 2021 is $44.2 billion, which is $6.8 billion higher than last year. However, education is $52 billion lower, healthcare is $68 billion lower, transportation is $28 billion lower, and employment is $4 billion lower.
Therefore, the top GDP countries spend a lot of money on military spending. This fact is a global problem that deters the abolition of nuclear weapons.
By the way, do you know the country of Costa Rica? Costa Rica is the only neutral country in the world without an army. The military was abolished in 1949 as a result of the Civil War in 1948, and the country has reallocated its military spending to education, healthcare, and environmental conservation.
As an example, in terms of education, the primary school enrollment rate is 98.5% and rising. As a result, the literacy rate is over 97%. In addition, the country was repeatedly ranked first in the global happiness ranking. Therefore, by allocating military spending to different fields, it has become possible to implement policies that lead to the happiness of the people.
In this section, we will introduce alternatives to military spending. First is transportation. According to the American Road and Transportation Builders Association, of the approximately 616,000 bridges in the United States, 7.6% or about 47,000 are in need of immediate repair. However, the budget for transportation in 2021 is only $71 billion.
Second is medical care. Emergency patient transport used to be free in New York City, but has become chargeable due to high cost and other factors. If you have health insurance, they may pay a certain amount, but if you don't, you have to pay the full cost. You will also need to pay for medical equipment for the ambulance, for the paramedics, and the fuel. Reducing nuclear weapons expenditures and other military spending and helping people with medical expense could be one alternative use of money.
In Japan, taxes are collected from citizens under the name of Special Reconstruction Funds due to the high number of earthquake disasters and other natural disasters. However, these funds are being allocated to defense spending due to the increase in defense expenditures. In fact, there is a proposal to allocate the reconstruction budget to defense spending. There is also a proposal to extend the deadline for special reconstruction spending by about 20 years from 2037. We thought that by reducing military spending, The diversion of special reconstruction funds and tax increases would be reduced and the burden on the public would also decrease.
We believe that countries that have nuclear weapons can be the leaders of the peaceful world by reducing the number of nuclear weapons they possess, as well as creating a cycle in which they reduce their military expenditures little by little and use the money for other areas while adopting policies like Costa Rica's.
Our own country, Japan, recently has increased military spending and has talked about changing the constitution to once again have an offensive army. This quote by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. summarizes our feelings. A nation that continues year after year to spend more money on military defense than on programs of special uplift is approaching spiritual doom.
Thank you!